to thank you all for coming. It's such a wonderful organization to be involved with, the League of Women Voters of Orange County. And I just don't think that we could be involved in a better cause at this time of the politics in our world. So thank you for your involvement. And I'm going to hand it over to the people who are really organizing this.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks for having us.
We're happy to be involved.
Let's all give Laura and Rick a hand for You know, if my mother had a garden this big, it would be filled with as many flowers as they have. It's beautiful. I'm Lee Rambo Kemp, first vice president for the league, and I wanted to wish all of you a great occasion this evening. We feel so honored to have each of you here to celebrate our successes, our achievements, and for your great support of this organization. One of the many things I love about the league is the way that we bring together so many people from so many diverse backgrounds for a common cause. And in this day and time, it's unfortunate, but it is great that that is one of our outstanding characteristics. Your generosity of time, talent, and support to give the league is so special to us, and it remains crucial to our ability to empower voters and defend a democracy that's under attack. I'd like to just take a moment to thank our sponsors who are here. First and foremost, Jennifer and Phil Anderson, who are not only our visionary sponsors, but are also Giving Society champions. We have the Voting Voices, which include Lori and Rick Watt, Charlie Williams, and Michelle Levy. Is Michelle here?
She said she couldn't make it. She tried. She doesn't feel that great.
Well, we have Cindy McKinnon is also under the weather, so she sends her regrets, but also sends her best wishes. We have a number of Giving Society members here, and I'm glad that there are so many that I can't ask everyone to stand up and give your names, but I would like all of the Giving Society members to please stand so that you can be recognized. That is both behind me and in front. You can also wave. And I'll wave. We have donor level members and other major donors who are here, including Morris's, and I won't try to name all of you, but I just want to thank you for all you do to support the work that we do. To keep you up to date, we have set aside about 15 or 20 minutes this evening to give you an update on our great achievement and successes last year. We'll have one of our younger members say a few words, and then we'll proceed with remarks from our co-presidents who will fill you in on our plans for this year. We'll end with an update on the Giving Society, and then we'll open the floor, if you will, for your comments and questions. So everybody at this point should have a flyer. If you do not, Joan can make sure you do. One side of the flyer is this Giving Society image. The other side is a purple graphic, and if you'll turn your attention to that, that purple graphic is our impact statement for 24-25. We will be including this in our annual report and posting it on our website, but it is an impactful and powerful statement of our work in the past year. While we could not capture everything we did, we tried to capture and highlight a few things we thought would be of interest to you. Our voter services team our natural resources team, the hot topics team, and our communications team had an outsized year. We also have many other committees that we could not include in that graphic that I'd like to also highlight momentarily, but before I go there, just to come back to the impact statement. When we had our event last year in May, our membership was at 750. Since the election, many people have been looking for meaningful ways to get involved. And when they asked their friends what they should do, the resounding answer is join the league. Today, we are up to 850 members.
Wow.
Enrolled.
Wow. Is that the biggest?
That's good.
Gloria's waiting for us to go past her number. What was it, Gloria?
911.
We will get there.
Wow.
2019.
Coming up on the 2020 election.
But, you know, our reputation is becoming a thing that sells us without having to market ourselves. We are known as a nonpartisan force for good and one that can be trusted to give clear and trusted information that we research to the community. When we staffed 23 polling locations last year, we have a very dedicated team of volunteers. Each of those 23 polling locations required, Gina, how many people at each location?
6 or 7.
6 or 7 people who worked 14-hour days. In addition to that, there was 14 to 21 hours of prep time that we put on top of that. And to say that we work our butts off is not exaggerating. But it's one of the reasons why we were able to dance in our seats when we got a check from the supervisor of elections office, $50,000. So we will not be able to replicate that for another few years because this is not a big election year. But we will continue to get the word out and talk about issues that are important to us in our community. We are really proud to be a national model of success within the League of Women Voters of Orange County. We are seen as one of the most successful leagues in the nation. Our hot topics programs, our community outreach events, our collaborations, of course our fundraising, all combined to really make us stand out, and we're very proud of that. In the hot topics area, I just want to draw your attention to something that I really love. We had an outstanding year in terms of attendance. We also had an outstanding year in terms of the number of viewers online. Our state's attorney forum, we actually had 4,000 viewers online.
Wow.
And the supervisor of elections came a close second. Amazing.
The recording was released afterwards.
Now, we do have a new committee that started this year, a Gun Violence Prevention Committee, and we have some very dedicated and smart ladies who are manning that. They partnered with schools and the tax collector's office this year to give out 1,100 gun locks in the community, and they also co-produced a video on secure firearm storage. I don't see Marilyn Wall in here. I know she was planning on coming, but she is a Living Society member and one of the co-chairs of our DEI committee. Our DEI committee works with all of our leadership and committees to foster a broad and inclusive approach to our work. And this year they kicked off a very popular book club. We expanded our contracting team. One of the reasons we started fundraising is because we also, through a targeted donation, were able to create a contractor position that is held by Ann Patton to create and head a talent bank of league members who write and publish work on league positions. This past year alone, the Orlando Sentinel had 21 publications, op-eds, and editorials created by league members. The third contractor is not here, but I think most of you know is Lisa Atkins. She is an incredible media and design artist who also does our newsletter. And both Ann and Lisa really take a token of appreciation of the hours they put in to ensure that our brand sings. And I would really say the same thing for Pat Grierson, who's chair of the membership committee, chair of the events, co-chair of the events committee, and she is the person who is working with our national league as we go through this transformation of centralization of membership. And I must say that Pat at times has said, I had enough. So we realized this year that we'll probably need to find additional contract support for our membership area, because it is absolutely too much to expect volunteers to keep up that level of work. And it's nice to be in a position to say we can do something about it without scratching our heads about how we can pay for it. We are standing strong in fund development. We ended the year on a high note, raising a total of $85,741 for the fiscal year. This fiscal year, we closed with the Giving Society making up 40% of that total. So if you're thinking about making an impact in a simple way, join the Giving Society. The League's combined income this year has allowed us to start this year in a very secure way. We actually have a reserve so that we're on very strong footing for any expenses that come our way this year. I'd now like to talk about some of our college missions. One of our continuing goals is to attract younger members, and we are making great strides. Some of you may know Bobby Senna, who spoke at our event last year. He is here today. Bobby graduated from Rollins. He was the president of the Rollins Democracy Project, and after he graduated, he worked with Congressman Maxwell Fox in his campaign, and has continued to be a league member, being very involved in voter services, especially our outreach right now to high school seniors. And he has launched a media campaign on getting out the vote that is very successful. Join me in welcoming our pickleball and golf phenom and new board member, Bobby Senna.
I'm not that view around me more often. That was a great introduction. And it's true, I do play pickleball, and I'm pretty good at it. Well, I just want to first start off by saying, hi, I'm Bobby, and thank you to the League for giving me the floor to speak today. Now, if you guys didn't hear, I graduated from college last May from Rollins College with a degree in political science and communication studies. And then afterwards, I was able to go intern in Washington, D.C. with the Florida Congresswoman, as well as with the Florida House on Capitol Hill. But upon arriving to Orlando, I was left with a pretty big question, which was, how would my League membership look now that I wasn't on campus 24/7? Were there still ample opportunities available for a young person who wasn't necessarily on campus all the time? I was a bit nervous because in my head I was thinking maybe this might be it. Maybe there won't be many opportunities. But I was very glad to find out I was wrong. There's many opportunities within the League. Some of my favorite involvements include the high school voter registration drives. So with the Voter Services Committee, we go to an OCPS high school. We deliver a presentation about the history of voting, why voting is important, and how to create and execute a plan to vote. In these events, we're able to register and educate over hundreds of students at a time. So they're really impactful. And I've also found that it's not just about joining projects. There's also a lot of ways that you can spearhead or create your own projects. So to give you an example, last year when the election season was heating up, I realized there was a pretty big gap in civic-driven social media content, right? with a lot more young people getting their news and information on social media, there just wasn't enough civic-centered content, in my opinion. So I went to the Voter Services Committee, and I said, why don't we fill that gap? And instead of turning me away and saying, no, Bobby, that's just not what we do, the Voter Services Committee said, how can we support you? And that's exactly what they did. And 8 videos later, we were able to garner over 14,000 views, hundreds of likes and comments. And not just that, I also had 20 friends who called me personally to ask, how do I register to vote? What do I do? And I just gave them the short answer, go to Vote 411. And then I hung up. But these friends, mind you, some of them I hadn't even heard from since high school. So what we set out to do within this series, we were able to accomplish. And I'm happy to announce that I'm actually in early talks of another series with the League, trying to aim at exemplifying civic discourse, which I believe is an important thing amongst the younger generation. How can we get them to talk to people who they vehemently oppose, right? So those are just a few of the projects that I think are so exciting that I've been a part of. But if you pull one thing from my remarks today, it shouldn't be the cool projects I've been a part of. It should be the pipeline that has been and is being created by the League to ensure that young people don't just join the League of Women Voters Orange County, but they stay involved and they continually expand their role. So to give you a real-world example right here, I started in college as a League member. I just joined because it was free, and quite honestly, it looked pretty good on the resume. But now, flash forward to 2025, I now was appointed and nominated as a board member. And I'm very excited to take that role and bring meaningful change. But that right there is just, thank you. Thank you. But that right there, that's just one example, right? I'm one example of many young people who are joining the League and finding ample ways to get involved, stay involved, and grow their role, which I think is fantastic work, especially because, right, civic engagement is one of the most important things in terms of success, career, anything. It intersects with a lot of other things. But those are my remarks. I think I'm right below time, so I'm going to pass it right back to you, Lee. Once again, thank you guys for having me, and this house is beautiful.
We also have with us today Victoria Schinker, who was the former president of our UCF, the UCF chapter. Victoria, can you stand? Victoria is now working with RSI. We are really, really proud of what we're doing with our colleges, and I couldn't say it any better than Bobby just did. We do have 67 student members at this time in our league, and I think it's more than any other league in the country. And we do all we can to make it easy for students to get involved. Now that we have to pay for student membership, we take that on ourselves as a part of how your donation helps us achieve our goals. We have the Rollins Democracy Project, the UCF chapter, that was actually started by a UCF student and league member. So this is the kind of grassroots work and engagement that we're seeking in terms of growing the face of the league's future. This is how we will become and remain a great organization. There are a few students with us here this evening, and I think most of them are out on the porch. I'm going to ask all the students to just come forward so that everybody can see and meet you. We are so proud of what they do.
There we are.
My name is Chloe Scott, and my position for the League of Women Voters UCF is Vice President. And it started the semester, so a lot of fun stuff to do, guys. Hi, I'm Rachel Chambliss. I just got elected as the treasurer for the UCF Women Voters. Hi, my name is Izzy McKenzie. I'm the current treasurer for UCF's League of Women Voters, and I'll be training Rachel and transitioning over the next semester.
We may have some work for you. Thank you.
Thank you.
One of the things we're focusing on this year is mentorship, not only at the college level, but with our younger members who are looking for ways to be engaged but may not feel the confidence to take on a leadership position as a committee chair or to be on the board. So over the past year, we had a task force that worked on a curriculum that we will implement this year to secure more people in the league who can step forward as leaders through our leadership development program. If you're anybody who you think would benefit from that, please let us know. We'll be thinking of all the couple months. It is now my honor to turn the mic over to our co-presidents. Reverend Kathy Schmitz, who's a monster. She's just the president of all presidents. And Jane Hirsch.
Okay. Hey, thank you, Lee, and thank you all for being here tonight and for your ongoing generosity. It has been my honor to serve as your president this year, and it is my even greater delight to have Jane join me as co-president. And we would like to talk to you about vision.
I'm talking into a mouse. Across the nation, every league chapter adheres to the League of Women Voters national vision. And that is, we envision a democracy where every person has the desire, the right, the knowledge and confidence to participate. And these are just some of the ways that our league, the Orange County chapter, is fulfilling that commitment.
So we envision a democracy in which everyone has the desire to participate. Once a person votes, the chances that they will vote again increases. And so the earlier we can turn people, citizens, into voters, the better. That's why we will be in more than half of Orange County's public high schools in the next month during senior checkout to help students register to vote. That's why this college initiatives that you just heard about are so important. And it's why we're redoubling our efforts to engage our young professionals who are joining the league right now in increasing numbers. Desire will lead us to lifelong engagement.
We envision a democracy where each person has the right, has the desire and the right. Quality of life issues should just be basic and accessible to everyone, and that's before even the vote is passed. So that's why we are involved in adjacent issues like affordable housing, transportation, redistricting, natural resources, all of those things that buoy a life that can go to vote. And that's also why we are developing a homelessness task force where we will have a more credible voice in the areas where they're having conversations and making movement towards more affordable, equitable housing in our county.
And we envision a democracy where every person has the desire, the right, and the knowledge to participate. The League is all about an engaged and informed citizenry. We are one of the premier sources of trusted, nonpartisan information. And it's through our 411 and our Speakers Bureau that we provide that information to the community. Through a new planned program, we are hoping to do some more internal training and education programs that will strengthen and deepen the understanding of all of our members. And through the leadership program that Lee just mentioned, we will develop and prepare future leaders.
We envision a democracy where each person has the desire, the right, the knowledge, and the confidence to participate. That's why we have hot topics and trainings and committees. All of this knowledge, plus the opportunity to engage with one another within the league, builds confidence and gives us the power to advocate and to support everyone who's involved. That's why we're developing coffees with young professionals, to hear from them, to learn from one another, and help them and set them up to engage in vibrant involvement. In fact, members, old ones and new ones, tell us that they simply want to make a difference. And that's exactly what you all here this evening have been doing already.
We are grateful. We are grateful to each of you for helping to build our league and our members throughout the generations.
And thank you too to Rick and Laurie. This place, if you see me in your backyard sometime in the future, don't call the cops.
We've got kayaks. Come on.
It's beautiful. A huge thank you to the events team and the fund development team. You guys rock. You are outstanding. You show up and you just take care of things in such a hospitable manner. And especially to you, Lee. Thank you for your efforts. They enhance and they make better all of our own.
Yay, Lee.
I'm not good at compliment taking.
Suffer.
I love that kind of stuff. So, I want to close with just bringing your attention to our great new initiative this year.
Hold the mic up, please.
Yeah. Oh, great. You should have,
Microphone.
thank you. You should have a copy of this with the flyer you got. We started the Giving Society May of last year. And we are slowly rolling it out. We actually have 30 people signed up to be members of the Giving Society, which is more than we envisioned for less than a year. So really we want to thank everyone who has joined. The Giving Society basically represents a commitment or a pledge to give for 5 continuous years. And many of you already do that. So what we are asking you to do is not something that is outsized. It's like, just make a promise that you'll continue to do it. What that does for us is it allows us to have a way to feel that we have a stable and predictable budget that we can depend on, so that when we look at staffing needs and other supports that the league is in desperate need of, it's easy to convince the board that we can do this. I'll never forget one of my first board meetings. There was a question about bringing on a staff position, and it was something that was so foreign, the board turned it down. So I'm glad we are past that. So what we have done to address some questions and complaints actually about our needing to take the donor level memberships down. We actually have to do that because our memberships have been centralized and rolled up into our national membership initiative. And if we had left those donor level memberships as is, we would have basically been giving away some of our fundraising revenue to national, and we're doing well, but we're not doing that well. So we have taken the leap and incorporated the donor level membership categories represented by the suffragists Carrie Chapman Catt, Ida B. Wells, and Susan B. Anthony into our offerings for a one-time donation in a year, or through the Giving Society to make that commitment over 5 years. So and there are many people who have taken advantage of that. There are many people who are great donors who haven't. I would just like to invite any of you who are continuing donors that you consider either joining the Giving Society, becoming a sponsor, becoming a donor level member, or just continue to do what you do. We really love everything you do and appreciate the level of support you give us to do the work for this community. We are all passionate about what we do, why we do it, and we want to be sure that we can deliver in the most successful way possible. Any questions on that before I move on? what I'd like to do at this point is open up the floor and ask Kathy to come back up so that we can entertain any questions, comments, or compliments from you. And we'll end with a toast and wrap it up. And I hope before you leave, all of the food on the tables, all those plates. are
And the
empty, so
wine.
Please
Please drink the wine.
Yes, I plan to.
Lee,
Gloria.
just a question for clarification. I believe I'm right when I say that all of these categories, if I'm not ready to commit as a 5-year Giving Society donor, I could give as a one-time donor.
Absolutely.
All these things in these categories.
Let me repeat the question. The categories that you see on the 6 circles, if you are not ready to join the Giving Society, you can still donate at one of those levels and be recognized in that capacity.
Or if you simply want to be a sponsor, and instead of one of these, you have that option as well. A couple of the categories in the Giving Society also do the option of being a sponsor because of your level of giving. So we try to make your options as seamless as possible and make it easy for you to choose and get more for your giving. Any suggestions, comments, questions? Jean? I'll let us-
Stay up in the shade so we can take pictures without squinting eyes.
Thank you.
This is important stuff.
Charlie.
So I'm just curious, what's the second largest league in Florida? Anybody know?
I can tell you, Palm Beach probably.
What's the question?
The largest.
Palm Beach, we're suggesting, might be the second largest league in
I
Florida.
don't know, but they're always saying, they mystify it.
Barbara Lanning is on the board and vice president of our Florida League. So we are integrated throughout. Barbara was also once one of our co-presidents.
Because it is such a crucial time to have members and everything, and someone told me there was an effort at one time, I have a problem trying to get people to join and say join the women's league instead of dropping women or coming up with another word or men and women. And I heard that was addressed at one time, but I don't know what happened, and can we address it again? There's
So
so
the
many
question
young
was,
men we could get involved.
in short, how can we address the fact that our title or name is the League of Women Voters of Orange County? I say that part of that is up to us to promote what the league really represents at this point. Because we have expanded about 16+% of the people in our league are men. So that's no small number. And I think that we should probably talk about that more so that men who do join or are thinking about joining feel more comfortable knowing that they won't be a tiny minority.
And I think that I was tabling recently, and a young man had walked by the table several times, and then he asked me, I didn't know if I could talk to you. and I, that gave me a chance, but I thought, maybe we need a sign on the table that says, men welcome too. But I was talking to one of our male members recently, and he talked about what it's like being a male member of this organization. And what I heard in him and what I think is true is that he is there to be supportive, and he's a full member, but he understands that there is a history that has to do with women getting the right to vote, which we've only had for 105 years, right? And so there is history here that's important. And so what I think of, the men that I know who are members understand that history and are supportive of it. And I feel like if we dropped the women from the name, we would lose some of what makes us unique and what highlights that history. So, maybe another 100 or 200 years. But I do think we can do more to promote the reality. Sure.
Kathy, how many volunteers do you need for the high school registration coming up?
so many volunteers, lots and lots.
It's
So,
actually in process.
Repeat the question.
so the question is, how many volunteers do we need for the high school checkouts that are coming up? First of all, volunteer page, you will find all the opportunities listed with the times. And we are not doing presentations at these. You know, Bobby and Barbara Suppow do fabulous presentations for our high school students during the year. But this is, while they are doing all the things they need to do to check out before graduation, registering to vote is one of their options. And so what we need is people who have done the training for being to assist people with registering to vote. So let's turn to our voter services chair.
Thank you so much. Yes, we have, starting tomorrow, we have opportunities at 14 high schools in Orange County. We are doing that in 13 days, and we have 39 shifts.
Woo.
So it's a lot. So if you can go to the volunteer page and look at the opportunities, and there are actually 3 pages of opportunities. So don't just look at one page, don't just look at 2 pages, look at all 3 pages. And if you are available to come to one of the high schools and help, they're going to be turning in their laptops, they're going to be getting their graduation supplies. And so we think this is a perfect opportunity to invite them to register to vote. They're not already registered. So if you can help us, we really appreciate it. Thank you. It was probably close to 1,500. Yeah.
And just let me say one more thing on that. When you go to the volunteer page, through some quirkiness, it lists, it doesn't always list them in chronological order, but if you will see a little button in the upper left, where you can click do by date, sort by date, and I find that helps me a lot if I'm going, well, I'm available this day, I don't have to scan through everything, so just know that that's there.
And this is Gina Hall, our chair of
Microphone.
the Services Committee. Microphone.
What is the training required now for that?
What is the training required?
You have to take and pass the voter registration quiz, and once you do that, we're good to go.
It's online.
Yes, yes. So when you go to our voter services webpage, there's a link to the study guide as well as passing the test. And if you, to pass the quiz, you have to score 100. But if you don't make 100 the first time, take it again.
So it takes less than 30 minutes. And if you have to
Yeah,
do it
and-
over again, it
Yeah.
takes maybe 35.
And you have to register at the schools through the admissions program, if you will. It makes it easier. Yes, yes. So anything you can do to help us, we really, really appreciate it. We have a great staff, but I want to just give a shout out to Betty Southpaw and Pam Linden, who are putting the program together. I want to compliment Karen and the SOE for supporting us, because that's a big effort.
Yes.
And we appreciate the volunteers from the SOE office helping us. So if you can give us a few hours, we would really, really appreciate it.
It was fun.
It's fun, yes, sure.
We have good candy this year.
Did you just say there's candy?
There is.
It's good candy,
That will help.
chocolate candy, okay. Charlie?
Kathy, I don't know where we are in Tallahassee on the petition legislation that would block efforts like the league and so forth. What can we do, or where do we stand, if you happen to know?
So the question is, where do we stand on the efforts in Tallahassee to make the citizen petition efforts so difficult that they are basically eliminated? My understanding, and if anybody can confirm this, is that it just got scheduled is it for tomorrow? So that is not good news from our point of view. Barbara?
I think that the state sent an action alert out today. I might be, oh, sorry.
I think the state sent an action alert out today. I might be thinking of another bill, but I'm pretty sure it was that bill. So if you can look in your email for that, that would be very helpful. And they said, call your senators. Sadly, some of us don't have one right now, but.
What should we call them?
Someone else.
You have a choice of several names.
Our state league has been on top of a lot of these very difficult bills. So it's not good news that it's been scheduled, but keep calling. So at this point, we can continue conversations, one-on-one, 2-on-3, whatever we want to do. But can we have a toast?
Yeah.
A toast to democracy and all the kick-butt volunteers who support it. And thank you all of you. All of you, thank you for everything you do to support our efforts. And thank you for being here tonight. And we've got some more time later. Eat food.
Please don't leave before the table's clean. And Lori and Rick, you are fabulous.
Oh, and so are you.
Thank you so much.
You bet. Thank you. So glad you
They're
came.
actually leaving to go